Okay, hello, I'm Jon Erickson. I'm a fellow at the Gun Institute and a professor in the Rubenstein School of Environment and Natural Resources. I'm going to talk to you about a project that we've just launched this year called Economics for the Anthropocene. This is a 6-year project partnering with McGill University and York University, and we'll be training 60 PhD students over 6 years. Economics for the Anthropocene, like any other project, is a big partnership of faculty, grad students, partners, collaborators, and community scholars. It has a training and mentoring component, a problem-based research component, and leads to transformative outcomes. The training and mentoring starts with a series of foundation courses that are taught jointly between these universities, leading to an international learning network so that we can expand this approach around the world. Internships, our graduate students do internships at government agencies, NGOs, and community groups so that their research leads to action. Also a series of graduate-led seminars on economics and finance, law and governance, ethics and ontology. We want to use the critique that ecological economics provides to economics and expand it more broadly to the social sciences and humanities, leading to what we're claiming to be revolutionized normative disciplines. And finally, doctoral research. The training of our 60 students over 6 years will lead to change agents for the Anthropocene. I want to focus on one particular aspect of this project. I should mention that we have 3 cohorts of students coming through, one focused on water, the second on energy, and the third on climate, all in the Northeast region shared between Quebec, Vermont, and the Northeastern United States. One aspect of this project are the critiques, the rebuilding of, if you want, a new renaissance of social science and humanities, looking at these disciplines that our colleague Peter Brown from McGill University affectionately calls the orphan disciplines. These are disciplines whose intellectual parents have long since died, and they are in search of new adoptive parents. And we think that they can find these parents in contemporary science thinking. These orphan disciplines really have been built on a foundation that sees humans as separate from nature, humans as at the top of the ladder of nature, humans really devoid from any kind of social or ecological context. What we'd like to do is re-embed the orphans in a larger view of life, in a contemporary science narrative that comes from evolutionary biology, in a cosmology, if you will, that starts from the Big Bang and brings us all the way through to the Anthropocene. This is a new narrative, a new way of rebuilding the social sciences and humanities that places us in the context of the full tree of life, not as someone who sits at the top of and dominates life on the planet. We are just this little tiny branch at the very end of this diagram, and we've got a lot to learn from that perspective. So I'll end with this cartoon. I think it's eventually Stevie looked up. His mother was nowhere in sight, and this was certainly no longer the toy department. Eventually, Stevie, the economist, looked up, and this was no longer the Holocene. We have to adjust our social normative disciplines for the realities of the world we live in and catch up to the tremendous amount of knowledge that we've gained over the last century through contemporary science. Thank you.